I thank the gentleman from Texas. As I said earlier, Texas gets it. You know, I remember a colleague of ours from Louisiana who said drilling equals jobs. That sums it up. Drilling equals jobs, and I appreciate the gentleman from Louisiana, Jeff Landry, our former colleague, for sharing that with us. You know, I drive a diesel truck, and I was filling up just recently back in the spring, and there happened to be an off-road diesel pump right beside the on-road diesel pump that I was at, and I was paying about $3.59 a gallon for diesel fuel for my pickup, and I noticed the off-road diesel fuel price was about 10 cents less, about $3.49. I took a picture of it and I shared it on Facebook because I wanted folks to realize if our American farmers are paying $3.49 a gallon for off-road diesel fuel. This is the fuel you can't run on the highway because they don't collect, the federal government and the states don't collect any highway taxes from off-road fuel. It's just pure diesel fuel. But if our America's farmers, and this is what the farmers put in their tractors, it's off-road for a reason. If they're paying $3.49 a gallon for off-road diesel fuel, I think about that is an input cost. That's a cost of production. So if they're putting $3.49 a gallon diesel fuel in their tractors to plant our crops and in the fall to harvest our crops, and I think about the cost of fertilizer right now, which should be low because natural gas is abundant in this country, and I think the gentleman from Pennsylvania is going to talk about this in just a minute, what they have found in Pennsylvania, but natural gas is a huge component in the production of fertilizer, but fertilizer is at a historical high still. So you've got the input cost for farmers of off-road diesel fuel at $3.49 a gallon, that input cost, and the cost of fertilizer. And Lord, we know what the regulations, gentleman from Texas was talking about. The EPA continues to push down on Americans, and American farmers are feeling the brunt of it on where they can spray their pesticides or their herbicides and how far from ditches they need to be. Some common sense there, I understand, but regulation after regulation, we even combated, since I've been in Congress, the regulation of farm dust. Now, can you believe that the EPA would want to regulate dust created through normal agricultural process that would create farm dust? But the input cost of farmers will be affected and will affect the price, rather, of the commodities that moms and dads buy when they go to the grocery store this fall after harvest time. So you think about commodity prices being high. We're already seeing historical high milk prices, historical high beef prices, historical high fuel prices. To go back and forth to the grocery store just to buy those commodities, it's less money for the hardworking American taxpayer at the end of the day, who are having to pay extra for Obamacare, extra in taxes to pay for large government and government spending that we see. We can help. This Congress can help by lowering the price of fuel, gasoline, for America's truckers, for America's moms and dads that travel back and forth. We've got an abundance of natural gas in this country. It gets a bad rap when you use words like hydraulic fracturing. But I'm telling you, it's working in Marcellus and Pennsylvania, and could work in New York if they would get off their can and open up those areas. But the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Rothfuss, he understands. He understands the area of Marcellus, and I'd like to recognize him for as much time as he needs to talk about that area.